Welcome to the video update for Petchkin High School for the months of December 2016, also January 2017. Put a few months together. If you're viewing this right now, you're not seeing me because I have a screen shared in this broadcast regarding graduation requirements. And I was spending this broadcast just looking at the graduation requirements for our junior class and beyond in the state of Ohio. And in the state of Ohio, graduation requirements for the class of 2018 and beyond is changing and has changed. And so I wanted to spend this update just briefly going over that and giving you some information about those changes. So students that have graduated before this graduating class of 2018 and also this graduating class of 2017. 2017 and I guess what we'll call older students have passed the OGT and the number of credits needed for graduation. Now students starting in 2018 will need to pass the required number of credits, which you can see right here on the screen. This is not a change. And then those students will need to fit into one of three pathways to graduation. And the pathways to graduation are through taking tests, the state tests they call them, which you can see right here. And also then a second pathway is through what's called industry credentials and workforce readiness. And then a third pathway is college and career readiness tests. So a student, when they come in as a freshman or even our juniors this year, they're not necessarily pinholed into one of these pathways. These are just options for students as they graduate and which one fits them the best. So students now have options towards graduation. So again, it's a 1+1 here. It's the number of credits needed, which that hasn't changed. And instead of the OGT being the other one in the 1+1 equation here for graduation in Ohio, now there's these three pathways for graduation. So we'll take just a few minutes here to look at these different pathways, and I'll try to go back and forth from screen to screen to give you kind of a visual reference, and then feel free to use the Ohio Department of Education's website to do some searching on these new graduation requirements. The website is very easy to use. There's a search box in the upper right hand corner. You search Ohio graduation requirements and you get all the information that you'd like. So one of the pathways is what's called state tests, and there's 7 end-of-course exams that exist now in the state of Ohio. End-of-course exams are tests that have been developed by an outside vendor, and those tests are given to our students. They're all given by computer. We've been giving these tests now for 3 years. I started out with what some people will remember as PARC. Those tests have went away, and now we have a different vendor that provides the test to the states. Our tests are given in those classes. You know, if you were to read this page, you would see the classes that are given, but we give it in Algebra 1 Geometry, English 1, English 2, Biology, American History, and American Government. And those tests aren't arbitrarily picked. Some of those tests are required by law, by federal law, and that's why students are assessed in those classes. Those assessments are required by federal law, and some of them are required by state law also. When the student takes this test, and typically the testing window opens in March and sometimes in April, sometime in April for us, a student can score from 1 to 5, and there you see the breakdown in the middle of the screen. And really, a student must earn 18 points, which you see right here, over the 7 tests. So over the 7 tests, a student must earn 18 points. And there is, as you read here in this paragraph, there are some requirements for students. They need so many points in math and so many points in English to get to that 18, and the other points they can earn multiple ways. A few things with this option: students that are in College Credit Plus courses that have a test, those scores can be substituted. Students that took a class that's tested like Algebra 1 or Geometry before we had a test, because maybe these juniors took Algebra 1 or Geometry in middle school we do substitute scores in based on their final grade in that class. Also, retakes. We can give students retakes, so students have the ability to retake these tests and earn more points. And actually, as I sat here today and do this, we just finished up a retake session. So these tests will start at the end of March here at Patrick Henry, and we'll go through the mid part of April, and then we get the results back from those tests before the school year ends, but right near the end of the school year. So I would encourage you to go ahead and take a look at this page here as a reference to this pathway, the pathway of graduation points. Another pathway that exists, if we go back here, another pathway that exists is through what are called industry and workforce credentials. Industry and workforce credentials are the pathway that students that are in a credentialing program in an industry and have the ability to take work keys. This will be a great pathway for them. I would caution you as you look through this that, in my opinion, this pathway is not as accessible as the graduation points through the tests. At this point, I think this pathway will be developed further as we move further into learning more about how these pathways work, and really for schools, especially vocational schools, to make adjustments to programming. This pathway includes students going through a credentialed program, and you can see the different areas as you click through here. You'll be able to see the different areas that the credentials exist, be it in agriculture or be it in computer programming or whatever it may be. Students have to be in the program. They have to have some work experience in the program, and then they have to pass the credentialing exam. And with the credentialing exam, there's some problems there that exist in some of the programs, especially for us locally, just because of accessibility. Some of the credential exams, you have to wait till you're 18 or older. There's cost, sometimes an enormous cost associated with some of the credentialing exams. So those things are really causing some issues for our students, maybe to look at this avenue for graduation. Along with this avenue, as you can see here, not only are you going to have to get the credential and pass that, you also have to get points and work keys. And work keys, from what I've known of work keys, it's an adult education type test to make sure you're ready to go out into the workforce. Now work keys is being paired up with these industry credentials for graduation. Work keys, you have to earn a certain number of points on the work keys tests to be within this pathway. So you have to earn the credential, and you have to score 13 points on the work keys test. And like I said, there's some accessibility problems in this pathway, but I think it's a really solid pathway that students are going to be able to use in the future as we work out some of the kinks in this pathway. Then if we take a look back and we go and look at the third pathway, and the third pathway is what is being called college and career readiness. So college and career readiness is basically going to be measured by students their junior year taking either the ACT or the SAT test at school, and it's free to the students. And here at Patrick Henry, we've decided to give the ACT test, and we will be giving the ACT test on March 21st. And students need to score what is being called a remediation-free score. And that just means if you took these scores on an ACT and you went to a college in Ohio for your college and said, here are my ACT scores, these are scores that would be expected of you if you were not going to enter a remediation class, meaning maybe the school will let you enroll scores on ACT, but they're going to ask you to take a class that's going to provide intervention or provide you some extra supports before you enter the first math class into your program, or the first English class, or the first writing class. You can see what those remediation free scores here are right here. So as you can see on the ACT, for the English subscore, it has to be 18. And then for the, and so if they entered high school after July 1st, 2014, it's 22 or higher. So you can see that there. And then with mathematics, excuse me, you can see that is 22 right there. So really the takeaway here is that if your student is a junior or younger, they will take the ACT for free at school. This year it's March 21st, and this is another pathway for them for graduation. There are some questions about how about if they take it before this March 21st take in January or in March, their junior year, and they get the right scores. Can they use those? And those are questions that that are still being flushed out and answered at the state level, and we can report back on that through some community forums and meetings that we'll be having in the future that we'll let you know about. So as always, if you have any questions, please do give us a call here at the high school. Again, we've just been kind of sharing here with you this resource of graduation requirements that you can find on the Department of Education's website. Thank you for your time, and have a good rest of the month.